Greetings and welcome to Spin a Yarn Live, the Tea Time Book Club and Crafting Circle, where today we are talking about the first 3 volumes of Battle Angel Alita, because there's a movie coming out.
At some point.
So, you know, we're hopping on that bandwagon.
Yes.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Remember, you can interact with the stream by going to Twitter and using the hashtag YarnItAll. Or you can go to Reddit, the subreddit r/spinayarnlive, and enter the Battle Angel Alita discussion thread I have set up. Let us know what you are working on during this episode. And what are we working on during this episode?
Okay, well, I was working on this last time. I'm working on the Seriously Simple Shawl by Wendy Johnson, which is a pattern that I got off of Ravelry.com. It is a free pattern. And I've made a bit of progress since last week. As you can see, I'm actually on final chart. I'm on chart C, which I think is the final chart. Yeah, so once I finish chart C, I'll bind off and then weave in all the edges. And then I can block it, and then I will have a brand new shawl. And as you can see, I'm almost done with my ball of yarn. I have a second one, but I'm definitely not going to need the whole thing. So I'm kind of like, I don't really want to roll it because it'll affect the tension. Cyrus, what are you doing?
Making a mess.
Kitty.
Being a kitty. Alright, I am of course still working on this. You can see I have a bit more of the pink of a face. So I'm making progress.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I've added another craft to my repertoire because that's who I am. I just start adding all sorts of new things, and I only get to barely the beginner level on everything.
I made a notebook.
You did make a notebook.
I did.
So I started doing beadworks. So I got a little thing of perler beads, little like sectioned off with 8 different colors. Most of them blues, purples, and greens.
He's made adorable little Pokemons.
I made a little shoulder. Oh boy. Shoulder, which looks somewhat proper colored. Then I made a little Charmander. Which is not proper colored because he's supposed to be red. But I have no reds. And then I made a Mega Charizard, which also not proper colored. And then for fun, those were all based off actual sprites. For fun, I made some Pokeballs that actually, the design of where to put, or the basic design was created by someone else, who knows how long, but I did the colors based on other Pokeballs. But anyways, that's that. So I've been playing with beads.
Hi, Osiris.
But I only have blues and purples.
Yeah.
So, tea. What tea are we having?
So today we are having the Twinings Prince of Wales tea. It's a nice rich black tea that I think is just so amazingly awesome sauce with a little bit of milk and sugar. So I have mine with a little bit of milk and sugar, but I know Paul just likes his tea black. Let's see if it's done brewing. Watch your little toesies. We can bring this in a little closer. There's nothing for Osiris to eat, so I don't have anything.
He doesn't know that.
Yes. He's a little batty, he is.
He is a little batty.
So it's a very nice, robust tea. Yes, I love you too, Osiris. Oof. And like I said, it is a Twinings. You can get it wherever fine Twinings tea is sold. Ta-da! Ta-da! Lovely. Okay. But yeah, just a little bit of milk chip.
Let's see. Whoop, that's the wrong thing. Okay, so there's nothing in the Reddits and nothing in the tweets. So, Battle Angel Alita. First 3 volumes.
Well, now, you know, a lot of stuff happens in the first 3 volumes, but at the same time, not a lot happens.
Yeah.
So, you know, we meet kind of our main cast of characters, and we meet a love interest who is quickly gotten rid of. So, I've not seen the anime. I know there is an anime out there. But what I have seen is AMV Hell 3. This is anime music video Hell 3. And, you know, this might be dating myself just a wee little bit here.
Just a little bit.
But if you don't know what it is, I'd love to give credit to the creator of it, but I do not know the creator off the top of my head. I'm certain it's still on YouTube, and you can find it and watch it in its entirety. It's about an hour long, and it's just this compilation of a bunch of random AMVs kind of thrown together in this little mishmash, and it's very funny. It's very silly. Not a lot of it has to do with music. Some of it is just like, maybe it comes from abridged series or just somebody doing a humorous voiceover. Since it's anime, you know, you can kind of put whatever you want over it. But, so there is a scene, and the scene that I know that is Battle Angel Alita, just because I was able to recognize the images as soon as I saw her face, is when, you know, Hugo is trying to climb up the
cable or whatever
cable to get to the city, and the defensive mechanism thing essentially kills him. So I had seen that scene, so I knew it was going to happen, but I was surprised that it happened in the second volume. I was like, oh, Hugo almost dies, and then they give him an android body. Cool, maybe, you know, he and Alita can get together and there's not so much risk of bodily damage given how strong Alita is. And then he's just gone and he's not in the story anymore. And I was just like, oh, okay. Well, that sucks.
I mean, on the one hand, yes, it sucks. But on the one hand, I also kind of like it because so many times the first boy or girl that our main character has a crush on is the long-term love interest. And it's like,
Well, and I wasn't really sold on him being a love interest anyway, because it was kind of weird. Because Volume 1, you know, she's trying to discover who she is. Doesn't have any of her memories, but she's obviously an extreme fighter. She's very capable. It doesn't matter really what body you put her into. She'll be able to fight, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then in the second volume, when we're introduced to Hugo, she tries to be a little bit more girly. And
because he tries to protect her.
Right.
And she's like, well,
oh, yes, EK.
Well, I'll let this happen.
Well, it's more she's trying to be flirty.
Yeah.
But it's just weird, because it's really not her from what we've seen. That's kind of the opposite of how she is. So, of course, once he's out of the picture, then she kind of goes back to being her old self. Although I'm not sure why she was so dismissive of Ito when she first saw him again. And then he got all pissy and stuff. And it was just kind of like... But so like I said, a lot of things happen in the first 3 books, but at the same time, you don't really know where it's going.
Yeah. Like, we get a lot of talk about that upper city, which I can't remember the name of right now.
Tysphere or Typhar, something like that.
Yeah, and how it looks to be kind of a space elevator. Like the bottom station of a space elevator, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because they theorize that there's another station, you know, up above the atmosphere. So I feel like we've got to get up there at some point.
I guess. I mean, I guess that's where the story is going.
I mean, it's hard to say.
It's hard to tell because first of all, we have no idea even how old Alita is. I mean, who's to say? She is an android. And, you know, so far it would seem apparent that she was created for war.
Yeah.
Whatever her backstory is, it definitely seems like she was created as a violent entity.
Right.
And they find this berserker body for her to use in the first book. First 2 books, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, well, maybe that's what she originally had. Maybe she was a berserker. But all we can do right now is just speculate.
Yeah, so, like, we know that she's a fighter, but that's kind of it so far.
Yeah, we don't know anything else. She doesn't know anything else. She doesn't even know. She says when she's in the midst of fighting, when she's in the midst of battle, she kind of remembers. We do get we do get that the technique that she does, her fighting technique, which they name...
Is Martian.
Is Martian, yes. She does say it is a Martian combat art. So it's like, so she's from Mars, maybe, or that's where she was created or something like that. But it doesn't really answer any questions because we've only ever seen the junkyard or the scrap heap.
Scrapyard,
yeah, whatever it's called. And so we don't really know much about the city that floats above them, and we don't really know much about the city that possibly floats above it. We do know that Ito is originally from the city. He is a doctor. He is a certified doctor. The mark on his forehead marks him as so. He has been there. He was thrown out.
Yeah.
We don't know why. And he says, you cannot get back up. And it stands to reason that he would know. We also figure out in the first volume, second volume, that the Makaku, the maggot king or whatever he calls himself, was created by a doctor. We know because we see the doctor looking at him now. He kind of looks like Ito. Maybe it was Ito in a former life or something.
Maybe. I mean,
but we don't know.
Because I was trying to look for Ito's face in that image of the doctor, and it didn't really seem too familiar.
I think the idea was that the hair and the glasses were supposed to be similar enough.
Yeah.
Which is actually funny, because if I just, branch off for a moment here, Ito's design, just like his basic design, every time I see him, I think of Vash from Trigon, because I'm just like, you got the hair. You got the hair. I know you're blonde.
Part of the face structure.
Part of the face, that long, kind of, strong chin and all that, and it's just like, you look like Vash. Which just makes me giggle, because Vash.
Yeah.
Oh, Vash, the Stampede. He's silly.
He really is. But, yeah, so I do also... So the pacing is slow, as you say.
Indeed.
But I do kind of like it because it's doing a build, but it's also not leaving things. So, for example, in a lot of shows, well, first of all, the first crush is usually the love of interest.
As you said, yeah.
But the first friend who dies usually kind of is gotten over with, within an episode or two.
Right, but in this we see clear signs of, post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, and for someone that she only knew for a very short period of time, I feel like a normal human losing someone that they have a crush on by their arm ripping off and them falling to the depths is kind of a traumatic thing. Slightly. Now, she's also supposed to be a battle android, so you would think she would be used to death, and she is when it's her enemies. But this is kind of the first time
a friend or ally.
In working memory has died, and they're actually dealing with her kind of going through grief, which is always a positive when a creator decides to do a traumatic situation for their characters. I do appreciate there being consequences. Yeah.
I
know. So yeah, we have kind of that pacing, taking it slow, dealing with that, and just dealing kind of with this world, building a lot of interest in the upper cities. I could see this thing, and of course there's 9 volumes of this series, which I'll touch on in a second. And we just did the first third of them, so there's every chance that we won't get to see them, and it's just kind of building anticipation in our minds in the same way that a lot of the citizens in the scrap heap want to get up there.
Kind of like Hugo.
So just having consumed media before, we have kind of this expectation of, getting to see these places because we're a reader. We're surely allowed to see all these places. Yeah. So it could be that they're just building up and it's just going to be kind of left off and you just have to deal with it in the same way that everybody in the in-universe does, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
Now I say there's brought up point with 9 volumes. So there's 9 volumes. And of course there's an anime series. I don't know how far that took. But then there was another series, Battle Angel Alita Last Order, which was basically a almost imagining of the manga as well. Huh. So I don't know what the movie is going to be based on. We're just kind of reading the original story for this channel.
Kind of like Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Are those two different separate mangas or just animes?
Just animes, because in a lot of cases with anime that's based off a manga.
It was the Hellsing situation.
Yeah, they get ahead of the manga and then they kind of have to do their own thing. And once Full Metal Alchemist started doing their own thing, it kind of started not being quite as good. Then the manga either finished or whatnot, and then a new series came out, Brotherhood, which did a very light touching of all the stuff that the original anime series touched on.
Right.
Went in depth with other things.
Right, because I know the first half of the first season or something is basically, it touched on all the important things that happened.
But if you only watch that one series, it's a little unsatisfying. The pacing's a little off because they're assuming you watched the original anime.
Exactly, absolutely.
Which did those plot points amazingly well.
I can't. I just can't.
Like with the Chimera.
Yeah, or the other Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Hugo too. Oh, your glasses are similar to him. Think about it. Paul got new glasses. I like them. But no, it just reminded me of, because that character, that was sad.
Anyways. We are not reviewing Full Metal Alchemist.
We are not reviewing Full Metal Alchemist. Good anime, though. I haven't seen Brotherhood, but I hear the Brotherhood is also a good one. But yeah,
which we do need to check out.
Yeah, watch the original first. Have a box of tissues, okay? Because it's it's not even really like One Piece. Or One Piece, you find yourself laughing the majority of the time. Full Metal Alchemist, you'll find yourself going, oh no.
Yeah.
And then you did oh god. Anyway, we're not talking about Full Metal Alchemist. We're just talking about
So again, because this is only 9 volumes, and I don't know what Yukito Kishiro's plan was, it could be that they plan to just do 9 volumes, and at this point we're kind of just getting out of Act 1, effectively. Or just got out of Act 1 and we're in the middle of Act 2. In a 3-part thing. So we'll see where it goes from here. Right now, there's a lot of interest. I am curious about this world. I want to see what the city and possibly above looks like. They did a good job making me want to see that. At this point, though, again, we were mentioning last episode about the whole Seinfeld is dead. When I was younger, I found this, I think, a little bit more interesting because I had the first 2 volumes when I was younger. And, I didn't see a lot of the cyborg stuff or whatnot. Nowadays, and I think even when this came out, this was playing off of, what was that one movie?
When this came out in manga form, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. What movie you're talking about?
Kind of the most famous cyborg movie.
Oh, Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Yeah, it is. You can definitely feel Blade Runner aspects, particularly in the way the city is, the scrap heap is designed. You can definitely feel it in the idea, although it's not something that's really touched on. Like the whole premise of Blade Runner. If you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been. But the whole premise, yes, I'm sure I made you. We discussed this last week. I'm sure I made you watch it in college. Anyway, the whole premise is the idea of if androids and, it's kind of like the iRobot movie, which we talked about iRobot and how it's not based on, the movie is just a very loose, interpretation. But so in Blade Runner, the whole idea of, well, if these androids and these robots are made to be so human, and in fact they're built in with emotions and all this stuff, does it maybe actually make them a new life form and not just these, these things to be owned or mistreated or just regular tool like a wrench or a hammer.
Right.
You know, so, well, it feels like... I might have lost the stream for a second. There, I see it loading.
Oh.
I'm going to keep talking.
Okay.
Well, it feels like there's not that issue in Battle Angel Alita because it feels like...
They're kind of accepted.
Right.
It's almost like after that issue has been solved.
Because, like, with Hugo, he was human, and then all they did was his biological unit is damaged, so they replace it with the mechanical one. And the YouTube is still buffering. Should we wait?
I don't know. It seems to still be recording. We'll keep going.
We'll keep going. Apologies if this... just apologies.
Yeah.
Because, it doesn't look like it's really streaming at the moment. We don't have an IT. He's the IT.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But...
So,
and he didn't seem too upset about having an android body. So it's not like a second-class citizen or anything.
Yeah, it's almost more like there's a really bad comic book series that Linkara from Channel Awesome reviews. Starchild, I think, is the name of it. Starchild is the name of the character. But in this particular comic series, the idea of cybernetic enhancements or surgery made to change your appearance in some way are very commonplace. So I feel like, at least in the shipyard, or the lower city where everyone lives, hang on just a second. I should really know what it's called. Scrapyard. There we go. Scrapyard. Looks like we're back. Sorry if you lost us for a little bit. But it looks like in the scrapyard, it's fairly commonplace.
Yeah.
For cybernetic enhancements to be made, or for you to just basically be an android, like Alita.
To the point that, like Hugo's little side business of, giving a little oil change or whatnot is something that you can just stand on a street corner and have customers, which means, there's quite a lot of them and nobody really cares. Now, granted, in the city, we might see different power dynamics, but at least down here it's very equal.
So it is. It's a and here's a question.
Okay.
What's her name? The little sister of the champion.
Oh,
Shimaki?
the Mrs. Third Person.
What's her name? She speaks in third person all the time. You'd think I would remember her name.
That just makes you kind of ignore her name and skip over it. You're
It do. She's very excitable and very... I don't know how to describe her. I think you should have gone to, like, the first page when you first see her.
Fine. Where is she? We need as soon as she becomes the judge.
There we go.
Shumira.
Okay. I've forgotten what I was saying now. Oh, okay. Shumira recognized the mark on Ito's head. She called him doctor. And he's like, why would you assume I'm a doctor? And she says, because of the mark on your head. And I know from the city.
Yeah.
You must be from the city. You're a doctor from the city. So is she from the city? Or did her brother tell her? Or...
I think... Because the way Ito spoke about it, I think anybody who lives in the city has that mark. And it just happens that...
No, she specifically called him doctor.
She called him doctor, but I think that's because the guy who came down, which is possibly the same guy as messed with the Manga King or whatnot, was a doctor, and Ito happens to be a doctor.
No, I thought they said that it's a mark of the doctor.
I mean, I only trust Ito's knowledge on this at the moment.
Yeah, I thought he said yes, this marks me as a doctor. I don't think it was in that one. I don't remember which one it was in. Oy vey, I shall never know.
Do. Welcome to the exciting segment on Spin a Yarn Live, where
we try
the host look through a book.
Let's see. He says, he can't actually get himself there. This mark on my forehead, a stamp to show I was a citizen. You're right.
Yeah.
I was a citizen of Typharis. So it's not just that he's a doctor, it is actually the mark of a citizen. You're right.
Right. And it was Shumira who said, the doctor mark, because this other guy had the mark, or...
Well, that's her brother. He doesn't have a mark.
No, that's her brother.
Yeah. Do you think I'm a doctor? The doctor mark. Yeah, she just calls it a doctor mark. So she must have known somebody else, possibly the guy you were referring to.
Yeah.
Who is a doctor. Because we don't see anybody else.
Yeah. And it could be the doctor mark, actually, legitimately. It's just we haven't, as of the first 3 volumes, we don't know for sure. We just have some crazy person saying.
Speculation. Because again, this is a brand new series for us. Usually... Quite frequently, we've reviewed series or books that we're actually familiar with.
Which is generally a good idea.
Yeah. But just like with the other book that we read that I was slightly upset with, this is a series we haven't read before. Which I like this series better,
Okay. Leave it.
Sorry. But yeah, so we're still trying to figure out what's going on. I think what's going on in the first 3 volumes essentially is that we're trying to build the world.
Yeah.
Especially at the very end of each volume, you have a little 2-pager that deals with something that we saw in that volume. Like in the first one, it had to do with the factories, and in the second one, it had to do with the cyborg things that run the factories.
Yeah.
And then...
Third one was about the Derby.
Yeah, third one was about the Derby and touches on the Colosseum. So it's trying to kind of give you an idea of what life is really like in the shipyard and in various areas of it.
Yeah. Because
the doctor used to be on the east side, and now we've all kind of moved to the west side where the derbies are.
Yeah, where it's more of a, I guess, the bad part of Bad Town. Because the east side wasn't very...
No, it wasn't.
Peaceful.
But it was a little bit more... The atmosphere was different. It was more almost city-ish because there were so many large structures. Whereas now that we're on the west side, it's a little bit more open, and I think that's because we have the derbies.
Yeah.
We need more flat land for the racing. And the racing is actually pretty cool. I kind of like this idea. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of Alita using it to more hone her skills and abilities.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty cool.
And it's interesting that she's using
hey, Katie.
Basically a racer body instead of her berserker.
Yeah, the
which makes sense, but we see the big champion who is in his civilian body.
And he has the chi.
He's still like super good and beats everyone up. And they're like, oh man, that's not even his racer body. This is just kind of his civilian body. And then I'm thinking about Alita, whose racer body is the downgrade.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
It's kind of like, well, she's got this other body that's locked up in storage. And I like that it's still there. And I feel like because we've mentioned it, and it was mentioned, I think 3 times in total, it's in another facility. It's in a factory on, the other side of town or whatever. It's, it's nice to know it's still there. It makes me think we're going to have so many more cool fight scenes.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I mean, for a manga called Battle Angel.
Right, you'd think. Gonna get lots and lots of battling.
But yeah, so, again, like other things, not too much happens. We do get kind of the first battle where we learn that she's good at fighting, but not OP. She's not, you know, anybody's Mary Sue, because she can still lose. Second battle, we have a much more intense, like, backstory to the villain, and then we have a little drama segment with her crush, and then now we're dealing with kind of a grief slash, you know, just
Escape.
punching it out, sort of.
Yeah.
Getting over grief segment. So, I mean, we're covering a lot of different...
We are. And again,
things.
we get the clue that the technique is Martian. So we have that little clue of where she might have come from.
And it definitely seems like there is space travel. That's not a question, it seems.
Yeah.
Just because if it's Martian, then...
Well, and who was saying they found... Oh, it's where they found the alien, the berserker body. It's where Ito found it. He found it in the crater of a crashed spaceship. And, you know, long ago there was a war in space. And this fell down to... Oh, sorry. And this fell down here. Don't eat my knitting needles. I have a kitty now. Here he is.
No.
Oh, hey. Stop playing with my knitting needles. Nope. Those aren't for you. No. Cute.
So yeah, looking forward to where this goes. It's definitely slow progression, but it has progression, and we're going somewhere, and we're, like, revealing the world, and it's pretty interesting so far.
Yeah, and I like this champion that she's challenged. I think that's...
I also like her interaction with the champion, because both of them kind of stopped in this stalemate sort of way.
Right.
And they both could have destroyed each other, and probably, like, the mutually assured destruction, but they're both, like, willing to just...
walk away.
Yeah,
and
walk away.
Deal with it.
And then we see later...
And my lap's not big enough for this huge cat.
After he does that with her, she does that with someone else. I forget who. It's near the end of this chapter.
Oh.
Where... She... was it the guy that she took the number 99 from? No, that would have been before.
Yeah, like the challengers, the three guys who come up and try to...
Oh yeah, the three challengers.
Yeah.
Yeah. She also kind of just goes just far enough to prove a point, but no further.
Yeah. Osiris, stop eating me.
But unlike Luffy, where this gets him friends...
Yeah,
she just builds enemies, so,
she does.
You know.
That's what makes her fun.
Anyway, so...
Anyways.
Oh, man.
I know.
It's only been half an hour. I don't know if we have enough to talk about this episode.
I don't think we have enough to talk about because, again, not really a lot has happened. We're just sort of still getting introduced to this world. We're getting introduced to our main cast, and, you know, we're ever so slowly moving forward. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's good. Besides, Osiris is being very cuddly right now.
Oh.
Baby. He needs his claws cut, though. He's kneading on my knee, and it hurts.
Okay, so I guess we're going to cut this episode a little short.
Yeah, going to be a little short this time around. So next week, we're back to Myth.
Yeah, so we're finally doing Mything Persons. We had to...
reschedule this one.
Reschedule that one. I forget what happened that weekend, but we just could not make it. So we're going to do that one.
I'm going to need to look... I've already read this one, but I'm going to need to look at my notes, because it was a while ago.
And then after that, we get to one of the great Dresden File books.
Deadbeat! Deadbeat! You've already heard me go on and on about Deadbeat. This one has Sue. I know everyone's like, who the hell is Sue? Read the book and find out. She's pretty awesome. She's dead.
Hey, no spoilers.
But anyway, yep,
So,
I'm excited about Deadbeat, and since I've already read Mythic Persons, that's good because I still haven't finished Blood Rights. So I should read Blood Rights, and then I can read deadbeat, which is a shame because I kind of wanted to reread Harry Potter. We went to Disney and we went to Universal, of course, while we were down in Orlando. And so we went to Harry Potter, Hogwarts, and Diagon Alley. And it made me really want to read the books again. For who knows how many times. I lost count after, like, the ninth read. I read it a lot. People tried to challenge me on the trivia, and I'm like, bring it! What? You know. Not the movies, though. I haven't. Not the movies.
Not the movies. Never the movies. No.
Not never the movies. They got better.
They did get better. The music, the sound of the movies was really good. And I kind of like the visuals of the movies, too.
Yes, but like...
Which also got better over time. Yeah. The first one was.
Like, I'm not saying Christopher Columbus wasn't a good director. He included pretty much everything that he could from the books into the first two movies, which was great because I thought the first two movies were very loyal to the books and were, you know, actually followed what happened and didn't really edit a lot out. But the problem with books versus the visual medium of movies is you can't really have this same kind of pacing. Like we've been over this when we've compared and contrasted the anime One Piece compared to the manga One Piece, since, you know, we're both very familiar with the anime and now we're reading the manga for you guys. So, you know, but the movies did get really good. The last two, which were basically the seventh book, were done very, very well. The acting was great. The visuals were wonderful. And I think the pacing was done great. What they changed worked well. What they kept worked well. So, you know, it all just has to... You do what you can when it comes to... Excuse me, what were we looking at?
Well, I refuse to believe that the director was named Christopher Columbus.
His name is Christopher Columbus. One of the bankers at my bank where I work knows him and his son. Oh. He's apparently a really funny dad. Oh. Like, his son is kind of a... There's this story that he told where the banker's son, Adam, I think was his name, and Christopher Columbus' son, whose name I don't remember, we're just going to call him John. But they were in a baseball game, like a middle school or high school baseball game, and John Columbus was not really athletic, so he didn't really play that much. He was usually on the bench. But in the final inning, or whatever, I am not a sports person. I think in the final innings, he was able to score the winning point, as it were. Like, he didn't hit a home run, but he hit well enough that, like, two more people were able to get the points. And apparently Chris Columbus was, like, in the stands, like, dancing around, like, yeah! And that was just really great. You know, he was like, his son wasn't going to win any awards, but he helped to win. Yeah. He helped to make the winning point, so he was super excited for his kid, and apparently it was super cute. I wasn't there. I've been told this story. So. But yes, his name is Christopher Columbus. This has been
Columbus. Third-Hand Stories by Spin a Yarn Knife.
But yes, his name is Christopher Columbus. He's a real person, and he's not, 500 years old. I don't think. Anywho, so yeah, I guess that is it for us this week. It's a short episode, but sometimes with manga, it's just short. Especially since we're not doing it by arcs like we would with One Piece. Yeah. And again, with obviously with One Piece, we could just talk and talk.
Also, One Piece is very crammed together. Whereas this, like we mentioned, it takes its time, it's slow build, but when you try and... Like, we could probably have done the entire 9-book series.
Possibly. Again, it kind of does remind me of Trigun, the anime where Vash the Stampede comes from. In that the first, few episodes are just sort of while you're getting to know the characters that we're going to see, and you see little mini-stories. You don't really see the plot until the last 5 episodes of the series, and then you go, whoa, dude.
Yeah. And that actually happens a lot in anime.
Especially if it's just a one-season anime and only 13 episodes, or even only 26 episodes.
Yeah, like, if there's only 13 episodes, the first 8 episodes are basically filler, fun episodes, and then it goes downhill.
Well, not that it goes... 5. It's not like it's not that it goes downhill and it's bad.
Not quality-wise, but, like, your emotions.
Right, like, all of
it's fun, fun, fun,
Yeah. It's like,
well, maybe not death, but...
Remember all this fun we were having? Guess what?
Nothing but trauma.
There ain't no fun no more. Everybody in this person's past is totally dead. You know, they're so fun-loving because this horrible thing happened to them and they try to block it out by being, you know, kooky, crazy, whatever, like Vash. Like, I'm not spoiling anything. If you haven't watched Trigun, just watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 13 episodes, so it won't take you long.
And it's not every anime, because, like, Air Gear does not have that thing. Air Gear is kind of a stupid anime anyways. But the fun part about that is episode 1, we go into a flashback of what's going on. Like, two guys come up, they see some stuff, and then we go into a flashback to see what that stuff was. That's not Air Gear. No, I'm thinking of... Oh, what am I thinking of? It's one of those high school fight animes, which does not narrow it down. Oh, man.
School Rumble?
No. It's a kind of a dark one. But no, it's fun. We go into the backstory, and then 13 episodes later, we come out of the backstory, and that's the end of the series. And you're like, wait, but these two characters that we were introduced to, and we keep seeing every once in a while in, you know, the present.
They don't do anything.
Nope.
They go to school. And then they remember things.
No. They're not the ones remembering.
Oh. Okay.
They go to school. They try and... School known for being a rough and tumble school, and they decide they're going to be like the leaders of the gangs of the school. They're going to be the top fighters of the school or whatnot. And then they join a club, see somebody who has a tragic backstory, and then the whole thing is about their tragic backstory. And it's like, well, and like it ends with like, and these two must go. I think it's by the same creators as Air Gear, which is why I was thinking of Air Gear, because Air Gear has a very similar ending where it's like, and then they went on, possibly to do this thing, and you're like, well, but can we? Yeah, it's like a choose your own ending, basically.
Very strange. But anyway, so that's our short little episode about Battle Angel Alita. So I think our goal is to finish all 9 before the movie comes out, right?
Yes.
The movie comes out in June.
Something like that. Well, I don't know when the movie comes out, and I bring this up every time we mention this series, but the last Alita is on July 21st. So probably the weekend after July 21st.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, because that's how we were trying to plan it. Like when we read A Wrinkle in Time. Now, we didn't go see A Wrinkle in Time, but fortunately, we didn't hear really great reviews of A Wrinkle.
Yeah.
But it stands to reason. A lot of people were saying that the kid who played Charles Wallace didn't do very well. And, I mean, how do you choose a kid to play that role? You know, it's a hard role to play. What?
Well, it either got switched around or something went weird, because Battle Angel Alita movie is going to come out December 21st of this year.
Whoa.
So I think it got pushed back into the holiday season.
Oh yeah, I guess it did get delayed.
So there's no reason for us to review it now. Actually, it also gives us a chance to maybe look at some of the other...
Yeah, maybe we can look at the anime, see if there's anything different with the
anime.
Or
Last Order.
Yeah, or Last Order.
What was... Because, Spider-Verse...
That one was supposed to be December, so Paul is super stoked about Spider-Verse.
Well, into the Spider... It looks like it's going to probably be like a trilogy, with the first one just being the intro. Yeah, December 14th. So yeah, I'm super excited about Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse is a very fun series of comics that we're going to review on this channel because they're fun.
And when we went to Universal, actually, we went to Islands of Adventure where all the Marvel stuff is, which is, of course, not owned by Universal anymore, but then again, neither is Simpsons.
Or anything else in Universal.
Right? Like, it's like, what here is actually not owned by Disney?
Harry Potter.
Yeah,
that's owned by Potter.
Harry Potter's not owned by...
Pottermore.
Yeah, that's owned by Pottermore. J.K. Rowling's not giving it up. You go, girl. You know, you hold on to it. But we did see while we were there, we saw a lot of Spider-Gwen stuff, and which is great.
Which is great.
Spider-Gwen has really taken off, and that's pretty awesome sauce.
And yeah, that character came out from Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
And it just hit the right... Because in Spider-Verse, not to give anything away, but we end up seeing like a lot of different universe versions of Spider-Man. So we get the
like Spider-Pig,
Spider-Hog, I think.
Spider-Hog, because Spider-Pig, they did that in the Simpsons movies.
Yeah, so I don't think they could use.
Spider-Pig.
Or
Spider-Pig.
Spider-Pig did exist, and Simpsons used a different, or Spider-Pig, which is I don't know.
Well, they also did Harry Plopper, which was
oh my goodness.
funny.
So there's all these different ones, and one just happened to be, oh, what if it was Gwen Stacy who got bit by the spider instead of Peter Parker?
Peter Parker, and Peter was the one who died, and all that.
Then, like, that issue came out, it was, you know, it wasn't even about her, because
like,
she got introduced, I think, at the same time as Spider-Hog. And then the fans just went wild. Like, everybody loved Gwen, and there's fan art and whatnot. So then she started getting more attention in the issues that were coming out.
And now she has
her own series. And then now she has her own series. And yeah, now she's a mainstay of the Marvel Universe, which is great.
Awesome. So, anyway. But, anywho, we will get back to you guys next week.
With Mythic Persons.
Persons, which is a very silly one. It was a little easier for me to read. But it's still,
and after I read Dressing. But as far as Myth, we have Mythic Persons, and then I think the one after that is my second favorite Myth book. And then there's just kind of a whatever Myth book, and then my third favorite Myth, or my first favorite Myth book. So they're coming up.
They're coming up. And so is Deadbeat.
Yes.
Yeah, Deadbeat. Very exciting. And I guess we're going to continue with the Keepers trilogy as well.
I think so.
I'm going to be a little bit more or less angry at the Keepers because I want to try to understand it. And I'm just hoping that interesting things happen.
Well, I think from what I've heard, the other two books are the same vein as the first book.
Yes, but at least her sister is more apparent. And her sister's at least fun, has a personality, doesn't fall down all the time.
Anyways, moving on.
Anyways, I think we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So, thank you for joining us, and read Battle Angel Alita. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Alright, thank you.
Oh, and so welcome. I got, a row and a half done.
I got half a row done.
You got some stitches done. If you, please post your projects, see what you got done this time around. Obviously not that much, given that, again, it was a shorter episode.
Yeah.
But anyway. But, yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
Until next time.
Bye.
That's my game channel. Okay, anyways, bye!